In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use AI tools for blogging in 2025, making content that will rank. This has worked in 2024 and it's already working this year in 2025. This is going to be split up into two main categories, two types of blogs: mass-produced content and personalized content. Now, let's look at the first one. What do I mean by mass-produced content? This is when you can write 5 or 20 or 30 blogs at once, meaning you take minutes, not days, to write all of this blog content. The content is all related to each other, helping the topical authority of your website going up, and it's all clustered, really meaning that it's interlinking within each other, really good for internal linking, which is really important for SEO. It needs very little editing, but it does require some, and I highly recommend that you do edit it a little bit. And it requires a little bit of research to ensure that you're feeding the AI tool correctly with the right information so that the output is high quality. The second one is personalized content. What do I mean by this? I mean personal perspective blogs, things that only you could write. Whether that's your opinion on something, or you want to do a really detailed step-by-step instructional tutorial or a comparison, and it's your thoughts. This tends to be a little bit more difficult to write with normal AI writers like Jasper AI and SEO Writer and all those things. But it's unique content that reflects your perspective, and Google eats this stuff up. It's really good. It does require a little bit of more work, but the output is incredible, and we're going to show you all the AI tools that you can use to make this a lot easier. Now, the next thing that we really need to concentrate on is diversification of content in different channels. You need to repurpose your blog posts for different formats like LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, or whatever platform you think is appropriate for you to repurpose the content on. And perhaps more important than repurposing the content, you need to take a few of the blogs that you select, it might be ones that you really like, and turn those into YouTube videos. I'm going to show you why that is so important in a minute. And the other thing is the importance of general SEO and backlinking within your content. Because unfortunately, SEO, it's not just about writing good content. You really need to get some backlinks as well. I'm going to show you how you can get some backlinks yourself, and then who you can get to do this for you. And for the love of God, do not buy backlinks from Fiverr, please. And before we even get started, I know some of you are going to have the typical questions that I get all the time. Number one, does Google penalize or ban AI written content? Simple answer, no. They're very clear about this, by the way. They do penalize spammy content, meaning content that's adding no value to anyone. But doing this strategy, we're not going to do that. We're going to add a lot of value in our content. And also, does it work for AI results? Meaning, will it come up in GPT search or in Perplexity? Let me show you examples of how it's working for both. This is traffic generated by one single blog post that was generated entirely with AI, and we amended it just a little bit. You can see over the past 3 months, this one blog post, because I've filtered it by the one URL, it's got a total of 1,800 clicks to it, generating a lot of traffic and a lot of sales. And you can see that the average position is number 9, meaning for a lot of queries or long tail keywords, it's ranking number 1 for those. So this stuff really does work. You just need to do it properly. And then, does this type of content come up in things like GPT search and Perplexity? Let me give you an example of a search that I've been doing, which is, for example, how to use DeepSeek R1 to write SEO content. And you can see here that it gives me the answer, much like these AI search engines, but I've been featured here on the results. So there's a link here, AI Ranking School, that's my website. So this stuff really does work when you do it correctly. And also, sometimes Search GPT, Perplexity, they give you instead a video on the topic, because the search intent, meaning what the user is actually looking for, deems that the user actually wants a video, a tutorial, a step-by-step guide on how to do the question that they're looking for. And in that instance, that's why it's so important to also do YouTube videos, and I'm going to show you how you should think about going about this. It's important to diversify your content, your blog post as well. With all that out of the way, let's get started right away. And sorry, before we do, all the assets that I talk about, all the links and the platforms will be linked in the video description below. First thing is finding a tool that will allow you to write a lot of content that is high quality. You can use any tool that you prefer. There are probably 100,000 AI content writing tools at this point, and I can't tell you which one's the best one because I haven't tried all of them. I've tried a lot. And out of all those that I've tried, I prefer machined AI. You don't have to stick to this, by the way, but I agree with how it writes and the content that it creates. I also been lucky enough to meet the owner, the creator, and he showed me how this thing works, and I've had good success. In fact, these results came from a blog written entirely by machined AI. You can sign up using the links below, and I'm going to show you how I go about writing content or clusters of content at mass with this tool. When you create an account, the first thing that you're going to do with machined AI is create a cluster. You can see that here on this side. And you can organize it by project. I'm going to organize it by my project, AI ranking. And we need to understand the topic that we're going to write on. Specifically here, I want to touch on generative engine optimization, what's called GEO. This isn't a replacement of SEO, but it's something that you should probably understand. So we're going to learn a couple of things at once in this video. So the topic is going to be digital marketing, and then the subtopic will be SEO, and then you need to place in the audience. This makes the content even better. So I'm going to say small business owners looking to maximize GEO for their SEO strategies. So the audience said, I've said here, small business owners looking to learn and maximize GEO strategies for their online visibility. I should write that correctly. The language, I'm going to say United States. Whilst I'm an Australian, the majority of my audience is actually in the US. And if you've got the free version of this, you're only going to be able to use autopilot. For this, I'm using the paid version. I'm going to use manual here because I want to select the keywords that I want to focus on. And I'm selecting long tail keywords, in essence, questions that I want the blogs to answer. And I'm going to show you how to find those questions really easily. You can use any tools. Also, Ask is fantastic, very easy to use. So I've placed in the keyword here that I want to find all the frequently asked questions that people are asking about this keyword in the United States. You can do the same. You can change the country if you want to do research on another country. The questions do change, by the way, so that's important. I'm going to do live search. This is going to take a little while, but it's going to give me all the questions in a beautiful format. So now I can see in a bit of a mind map format, I can see all the questions about generative engine optimization in the United States. So I've got here, what is generative engine optimization? Is GEO replacing SEO? How to optimize for generative AI? How to optimize for SEO? And then there's sub questions related to that, right? So you can do with the free version of this, you can download as a PNG. A quick tip here is to go to use ChatGPT, the version 4.0 you want for this. And I'm going to drop in the PNG that I've just got and tell it to please return all of the questions only. Whilst that's analyzing, I want to see which one of these I want to answer. Perfect. That's actually a good one, long tail key one. You want one that's related to the topic that you're trying to rank for. And the longer tail keyword, the better chances you have to rank for that. So I'm going to go back to GPT and it's got all the questions here for me. So I'm going to select a couple of these and I definitely want to answer that one. What is generative optimization? And I want to do that in a blog post. I'm going to go to machined AI and just place it there and go back here. And these ones here, I want to answer, is GEO replacing SEO and is SEO dead with AI? Those will be great questions to answer in individual blog post. I've got 6 here. Let's select one more because I want to show you how quickly it is at creating really good content. Perfect. What are the key areas of generative AI that many are exploring? That's a great question. Perfect. And you can see as I place the articles here, I'm not going to include the titles. It can do that for me. I've got 7 articles out of 50 that I can generate. And I can now create the cluster, and that's what I'm going to do. Now, first of all, it's doing the research. It's understanding what people are asking, what are the top ranking results for those keywords, and then it's suggesting the blogs that you should write. It hasn't written the content yet. It's telling you, hey, here are some of the, here are the keywords here, the grayed out one, but this is the title that I recommend. If you don't like the title, you can change it yourself. I'm going to change the model here to GPT-4o. The length I'm going to keep as long. It doesn't matter too much, to be honest, but think about it like this. The more complex the subject that you're writing about, probably the longer that it needs. But let's say you're writing a blog post about how to make a piece of toast. You can probably cover that in 500 words, so you can change that to short, for example. I'm going to leave that as it is. The tone of voice, I like to do casual, but that's just personally for me. And you can see that because I've chosen casual, it's changing the title to meet that tone of voice. And you can embed the research that it should do. I like humanizing all this stuff here. It just takes rid of the fluff. Now, just to be very clear here, I'm not humanizing to try and trick the search engine to understand that this was written by an AI. It's just, I find that it reads a little bit better when you make that option. Within the research component, it's really, really interesting to go semi-automatic research. So I have already written a blog post about GEO that I want this to crawl and include within the blog post. So I'm going to go to that, and it's the latest one that I've written here. So I'm just going to place that in here, and I'm going to enable to include citations and references. So if that blog post is appropriate for the model to include that in your blog post, it will. But it won't if it's got nothing to do with the topic. So you can't force that injection of that link, if that makes sense. Let's say you're writing about GEO, but you want to somehow inject a blog post about training dogs. The AI is going to go, this makes no contextual relevance. I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to do that for all the blog posts here. There's a lot more features coming out in this tool very shortly. So if you're looking for an AI writer, it might be your go-to. By the way, if it doesn't work for you, if you don't like how it works, you don't have to stick to this one. But you do need to add the correct data to any AI writer, which we did by going to people also ask and finding those frequently asked questions. Now I'm going to select all those articles, and I'm going to write all 7 articles. You can see now that it's writing the content. I'm going to speed this up, and by editing magic, I'll show you what it looks like once they are all written. And like that, all the blog posts have been finished. That took about 5 minutes, if that. So we're going to read a couple of them and see what it is. We've got the title here, the keyword or the question that we're targeting, the meta description. And I've got here overview of GEO. And you can see here that it's included my link to the article that I want. So if I click on that, I'll go to the blog post, already internal linking. And here's the other beautiful part about it. You can see here that it's got how to optimize for GEO, and that's underlined, meaning it's linking to a blog post. Which blog post? Let me show you. So how to optimize for GEO. If I look in the keywords here, how to optimize for GEO, that's the article that it's internally already linking to. So when you're publishing these contents, you can either publish them all at once, which is okay if you're doing about 7. Google doesn't mind, but just keep that in mind. And I've got a blog post that has tables. It's nicely formatted. It even gives you a little like coding example. So it creates varied content. It's quite good. I really, really like it. The next thing you want to do, if you've got your website connected to Machined AI, which you can do with Webflow and WordPress, you can also send it throughout to a webhook, but we're not going to touch on that at the moment. I can go and select all of them, and I can publish to my CMS. You can see here that I can send it to my website, airankingschool.com. I recommend that you send it as a draft, because then you want to go back and amend it a little bit. But there we just created 7 blog posts that are going to help us rank and increase our topical authority about GEO. So we mass produced the content. We wrote more than 5 blogs at once. The content is clustered and related to each other. It needs very little editing, and we did some research. We found the frequently asked questions that people are asking about that. So we're answering those, therefore giving the user a lot of value with that. Now let's move on to the second strategies, which is one of my favorites, how to create personalized content. This is personal perspective blogs, and it's going to take a little longer, but trust me, this really, really works. For this, I would recommend a model that knows how to reason. You can use DeepSeek, which is free, although you're giving your data to China. If that bothers you, then you can use O3 Mini. But I find that DeepSeek uses and understands this really, really well. To be able to do this, you do need to prompt it correctly. I've got a prompt here ready, and I got that from the AI-powered AI ranking school community. We have a bunch of prompts in the classroom. This is our premium community. You go to prompts and you look for the right one that you would like. In this instance, I've got the prompts here, DeepSeek R1 copywriting. I'm going to double click this and go to DeepSeek. So here we need to do a couple of things, and I want to show you what the prompt looks like so you can replicate it or understand it and then make it your own. We're telling it to write a complete blog post in a conversational and engaging tone because that's how I like to write. Make sure that you ensure that the content is concise. Concise tends to remove all of the filler words or in the ever evolving world of, the stuff that really sounds like AI. Here's the really important thing that you need to change. The topic is insert the topic and what you would like to focus on, right? So that's what you need to change. So in this instance, I'm going to also write blogs about GEO, but I'm going to tell it that, and I'm also going to tell it what angle I want to write about. So I've said here, I'm just going to select this so it's easy to read. The topic is generative engine optimization. I want you to discuss how this is different from SEO and what are some strategies that small businesses can do today to make the most out of GEO. I've misspelled things a little bit there, but it doesn't really matter. And it defines a couple of things here. Research first, incorporate references seamlessly, meaning the URL that you find for this, hyperlink it to the contextual keyword, incorporate the references, place them naturally, conversational style, and then their output. So now that I've got this created, I'm going to copy this whole thing. I'm going to go to DeepSeek and I'm going to paste it here. Notice really two important things. I have DeepSeek R1 selected, which is the reasoning model, and the reasoning helps make the angle or the perspective of the topic a little bit better. And I'm going to go research because I've told it to research online. I'm going to hit enter here. I'm going to also do the same thing with O3 Mini to show you that both can really do it. But for some reason lately, I've been finding that DeepSeek's, the way that it writes tends to be a little bit better. That's okay. We just need to amend the prompt for O3 Mini, maybe a little bit, but the same steps are still applicable. I'm going to hit enter here as well. You can see how DeepSeek is thinking, and it found 37 results that it deemed appropriate to understand, and it's going to help it write the content. There's a couple of things that you should look for right away. One is the tone. Are you happy with how it's writing? Let's read the first sentence and see. Imagine you're a small business owner who has finally nailed SEO. Your website ranks on Google, traffic is flooding, and life is good. But suddenly you notice something odd. AI chatbots like ChatGPT, Gemini are answering questions without directing users to your website, and your hard-earned SEO efforts feel irrelevant. That's it. Welcome to the era of GEO. You can see here that it's created a table because I wanted it to diversify the content, makes it nicer to read. Google also really likes this, and it's given me the sources as well, which is great. It's also even contextually linking to the right keyword. So Ahrefs here, if I click that, I'm going to go to that website. That's what we want. Let's check on R1. Let's check on O3 Mini and see how it did. So this is definitely a lot quicker. It already finished. And let's read the first sentence as well to see what it sounds like. In today's rapid evolving digital landscape, one buzzy topic is generative engine optimization. Rapidly evolving is a classic keyword here. Now that's not its fault, it's my fault. I need to give it a negative keyword list, but the rest is pretty good. So you want to let's use O3 Mini for an example. You want to make sure that you are happy with the content. If you're not happy with it, tell it what you want to write. One of the key elements to do here is if you have a personal experience that you can inject into these type of blogs, do so. It's really good and it'll be very niche to what you're writing, and Google really likes that. It's something that no one else can quite replicate. Neither can AI, by the way. So if you can add a personal insight, it's really, really good. For this instance, I'm just going to use what DeepSeek wrote, but this isn't ready. We're going to add some additional images, and more importantly, we're going to add some beautiful illustrations. So you want to do this in the back end of your website, or you want to do this in Google Docs. It's really up to you, but you want somewhere where you can mend this rather easily. One thing that I like to do is use Google FX to generate some images, particularly the feature image. So I'm going to go to FX, and that is labs.google/FX tools image. It's a really beautiful tool. And I've got a prompt that I use on a regular basis, but I just changed one aspect here. So you see here that I've got a cyberpunk glitch screen with the keyword tool on it, minimalistic art, yada yada. What I like to change though is the main keyword here, and I'm just going to go GEO, and I'm also going to add there should be an icon, a magnifying glass. And by using the structure of that same prompt over and over, I'm maintaining the same brand component, because it might differ a little bit, but they tend to always look similar. See these ones here. I like this one. Great. So now I can put this, for example, in the feature image. When you're putting it to your website, you want to make sure that that image is a WebP file, not a PNG file. I've done many videos on how to convert that. It just makes it lighter and a lot better. So I've got an image. Great. Let's see where we could potentially add an illustration. In this section here where it says why GEO matters for small businesses, I think we can add one there. I'm going to copy that whole section. I'm going to go to a tool called napkin.ai. Again, I've listed this in the description below. I'm going to paste that section here. I'm going to select all of what I've written and click on this generate visuals component. This is going to read the entire section, understand it, and provide a few options of an accompanying illustration. It's absolutely wonderful. I love this tool. So you want to see which one kind of reflects the point that you're trying to make better. That's pretty good. And I like this structure here. This allows you to download the PNG file again, which I'm going to place into my blog post. I want to place it below here. And what I'll do is just change this to another page so it looks, again, when you're putting it into your website, do not upload the PNG file, convert it to a WebP file. You can Google for a free WebP converter. I use this one all the time, Convert.io. You throw the image in there, and then you make sure that you convert it to WebP, upload that to your website, not the PNG file. So now I've got a blog post that has some tables, has some illustrations, and even has an image. For example, this is one that I generated before, generative engine optimization, why it matters, right? So it's here. I've got some images that I've added because I want to add my experience in there. This took all but 2 minutes. If we go further down, we've got some tables, and we also have a illustration from napkin.ai that helps the content. It adds value to it. It's a supporting illustration. That is what you want. That's the main point here. And then, I wrap it up and I do some internal linking, which is the last thing that you want to do in this blog post. Within here, it's already linking to external sources, which is good because you are verifying that you got your information from a reputable source. Very important, but you also want to do some internal linking. So for example, throughout the blog post, you need to read here and understand where you might want to include a backlink here. For example, the conclusion here says, and if you need help, there are agencies like Zero Marketing Gravity. What I would say, if you need some help, there are online communities that can teach you how to do this. And I'm going to inject the internal link in there. I'm going to inject the link in there or hyperlink that there. And now it's ready to go. You can upload it to your website. When you upload it to your website, make sure that this is H1 or H2. You should know how to do that by now if you've been watching any of my videos. The last thing that you might need to do is convert this table into a HTML, because sometimes, depending on your website builder, it's not going to transfer really nicely. It's going to be all kind of mushed together. This is nice and easy though. All you need to do is give this to any AI content copywriter, even DeepSeek. I'm just going to disable the search and I'm going to say, give me the HTML of this table. And then you inject that HTML in the appropriate place within your blog post. Every single website builder has the ability to do that. And finally, for a blog post that you really like, for example, how to write SEO content that ranks with DeepSeek, I really like that. I created it with the same strategy that I just showed you. I turned that into a YouTube video also, and I embedded it into the blog post. This allows people the choice that instead of reading the thing, they can watch the video. Not only that, it improves my chances of showing up on search engines and AI-powered search engines like I showed you before at the beginning. That is what I do that. I want to increase my chances. And what that allows you to do as well is to perhaps compete with bigger players, meaning bigger websites that have been around longer than yours and have a higher domain authority. I was ranking, or my video was ranking higher in the search results than somebody that had a much higher domain authority than I did, but my video is first. I get more visibility. It's a win-win. That's what we want. Finally, how do you get some backlinks? Because we talked about domain authority, you want to build that as you go. Domain authority is one of these metrics that is kind of made up by Ahrefs, Moz, SEMrush, which are famous SEO tools. And you need to, and they all might differ a little bit, but they're kind of all the same. I know that was a very weird explanation, but this is one metric that you should look at. And one of the components that builds your domain authorities is how many external domains, external websites are linking to you. There's two main ways that I like to do this. You can go on a website called Featured and you upload your information there and it kind of reads what you are about. You say what kind of expert you are. And then you have all these questions that you can try and answer. For example, here, how do you stay updated to the latest SEO trends and algorithm changes? I could try and answer that question. And if I provide a good enough answer, they'll use it as a quote and give me a backlink. You can also do this more manually. You can reach out to other websites and say, hey, I think if you link to my blog post in this section of your website, you're going to add a lot of value to your readers. The thing is that they're probably going to ask for payment in that. The second way that you can do it is leave it to the professionals. Don't trust Fiverr and don't trust random people just because the results of doing bad backlinking can be catastrophic. You don't want to relate yourself with bad websites, which often happens. If somebody approaches you and says, hey, I can get you 1,000 backlinks, run the other way. Because with backlinks, it's not about the quantity, kind of is, but the more important thing is quality. I do the backlinks with Get Me Links. They are a professional agency. You can even do a free call. I'll leave a link for you to access a call for these guys. And they work with you together in finding websites within your niche that will link for you. Yes, it is a service, but it's a service that if you're in a tough industry, you might need to consider. You can check out the pricing and everything, but you're talking to real humans and they really help you with your backlinking strategy. Why does backlinking help as well? Not only from domain authority perspective, but with a brand new website, it actually also increases the speed at which your content gets indexed, meaning found by Google. This is a brand new website, and every time I publish a blog post and submit it to Google Search Console, within 6 hours or 6 to 12 hours, I can see that that blog post is indexed. Sometimes that process can take between an hour to sometimes days or weeks, depending how much Google crawls your website. But adding more external backlinks increases the chances of Google crawling to your website, indexing your content, meaning it gets found quicker. And finally, the last thing that I want to mention that I nearly forgot is making sure that you are on Bing Webmaster Tools. This is Bing's version of Google Search Console, and it's becoming a lot more important because a lot of people are searching on GPT search, which uses the Bing search engine network. So make sure that you go on Bing Webmaster Tools, you make an account, and you submit your site map. Let's do a quick recap. We went to how to use AI tools for blogging in 2025 that's going to create content that ranks for you. There's two types of content generation that we went through. Mass-produced content with machined AI. We did amend it a little bit and give it the correct information. And personalized content using any reasoning models and a bit of research. The mass-produced content means more than 5 blogs at once, helping you write clusters of content in minutes, not in days, and personalized content that is difficult to write because it reflects your unique outlook or perspective on things. Then you need to make sure that you diversify the content. I would recommend that you choose 1 or 2 blogs a week. at least a month and repurpose that into YouTube because you saw the benefits of that. Then we touched a little bit on backlinking strategies, how you can do that with featured or how you can get the experts to do it for you. And we also answered the frequently asked questions. The main thing is to take SEO slowly, but you need to do the right things. You can use AI to optimize it, but it can go wrong if you don't add any value. If you want to learn more about this, I suggest you join our community, AI Ranking, where I'm there to support you and you get up-to-date information on how to do this stuff. You don't have to by any means, but that is there for you. All I ask is if you found any value on this video at all, consider subscribing and please like the video. It helps with the algorithm and I can get this video that is quite helpful, at least I think so, to more people that need it. Again, thanks for watching and I appreciate it. Any questions that you have about anything that I talked about, please leave it in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer as soon as I can. Thanks.